Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Nur Jazima Izzati, together with my partner Irasat Slamiyah. Today we are going to present our position paper with a title ESL Students Literacy Through Literature. So for this presentation, we will cover the three arguments about how Big L influenced ESL literacy, and then we also will come out with our agreement or disagreement towards the arguments made, and also we will have our references at the end of the presentation. So for the first argument, how Big L can help in improving ESL students literacy. The first one is by story reading with adults. So adults here means parents or teachers. So the young kids supposedly to be exposed with story reading, storytelling with adults, so that they can become interested in getting know the books, getting to know what story is about from the books, or maybe from the poems, or maybe from the short story or novels. And then um according to Hodge, Nurse, and Enright 1986, they said that story reading with adults can increase the efficiency of second language learning, and it can make the readers feel interested because of the illustration in the books, and also the storybooks will be printed in the target language, which is English. So for example, one of the short story that I have here is Matilda by Roald Dahl. So the main character Matilda here is she is the same age as the young kids. So when we expose this kind of short story, maybe the young kids can relate themselves to the character of Matilda. So here Matilda is a really love book, obsessed of the books, and she can read a lot kind of books, a lot of genres of the books, and then um maybe from that it can encourage the young kids to enjoy the books more in target language, which is English. And then for the agreement or disagreement for this for the argument made just now, I share the same opinion where the young kids supposedly to being exposed to second language books such as poems, short stories, so that they will treat English as a second language, not as a foreign language. So they will feel like it's not that difficult to learn English, and it will be as easy as their first language. And at first, when they're still young, it is normal for them to read the books or read the poems to understand the story, but not really focusing on the structure. But from there, from their their action of loving the books at young age, they will gradually improve as they get older. And then for the second argument, uh, how we can improve, how ESL students can improve their literacy by big literature is by introducing the students with graphic novels. Graphic novels is usually it is not referred as a good material, but teachers and literacy experts, they say that graphic novels function similarly to other reading materials, and it is one of the excellent choices for reading outside of the classroom. And also it acts like an aid for the reluctant readers to uh, get interested to know the story and to get through the text with the visual aid provided in the books. And the combination of text and images can be more engaging to the readers, and they're also providing context for story um, that the readers might not understand at first. And by looking at the visual, at the pictures, and they will get more understanding of what the books are is about, or the text are is about. So for from J. Trausten's Literature in Prison, he said that the study of literature provides numerous opportunities for improving literacy. It provides access to language, reading, writing, a shared culture, and also one's own self. Meanwhile, Maureen Mooney said, young adults will come if you acquire graphic novels. And Rocco Versace mentioned that graphic novels can increase and diversify the voices that our students experience in the classroom, and suggest to them that literature may take various forms. So, for example, I have the one of the famous graphic novels with the title "100 Bullets, First Shot, Last Call." So, as we can see here, the in the graphic novel, it applies the same amount of text and also the same amount of pictures. So from the novels, we can see how the characters look like and how the settings take place. So for the agreement or disagreement for the second argument is, I have no I don't have any doubt about it, and I agree. Um, where the readers will be more engaged if visual aids are used in understanding the story plot, and they also can immerse in the story because they can see how the story is presented by the authors. And as we can see at the bottom here, it is said that 90% of information transmitted to the brain is visual. So I don't have any doubt about the arguments made just now. So next will be continued by Irasat Salamia. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Uh, Thanks, Jazima. Assalamualaikum, Prof. And a very good morning, good evening, my beloved classmates. My name is Slamiyah. I will present you about our third arguments in position paper, which is on the topic ESL students literacy through literature. As Jazima mentioned above, that children will view English as a second language rather than foreign language if they are constantly exposed to books written in a second language as English, so like such as poems and short stories. Yes, it's true that children will try to expose themselves to read the book that related to English, and if the language that they understand, yes, it's truly that they will try to improve their English proficiency in their literature and their English proficiency as they read a poems or short stories. In the slide of Marek McRae 1992 mentioned that learning how to read literary text will improve student ability to read about the world they exist in. Yes, it is supposed that the poems or short stories that teachers make them interested to learn, it is true that students will increase their reading styles and increase their reading comprehension as well. And furthermore, according to Hosseini and Devin 2021 stated that in the term of the usage of figurative language and connotative meaning in comparison to other literary forms like prose and drama. So poetry is one of the more expressive literary forms. It is meaning that literary poetry is a part of literature that make the student conclude themselves with reading styles in the poems. And why make sure that poetry is a part of literature? Because let's move to the next slide, please. As we see an example of the road not taken that written by Robert Frost, who was an American, a famous poem written by Robert Frost. He is an American writer that this title, this poems, it's a narrative poem that highlights the struggle of the main character who is trying to select the right way when facing a distraction, but it is unable to make up a mind. So it means that the road not taken is a part of poetry that it's related to literature that make the student try to read and understand it with the meaning. Otherwise, the poetry can make us to understand with another meanings, like what Hosseini and Davies stated that the extraordinary presence of nature in prose poems leaves a lasting and a beautiful impressions. Yes, it's sure that poems leave a people likes a nature with the meaning of the poems that make them try to read and understand the meaning of it, and they try to relax what they can relax on the poems to their real life. For example, like the road not taken, that they need to decide which road they can choose by themselves. So it teaches the students to the way that they can understand and make a choice of doing something. So for the reason, the road not taken is a great choice for a teacher to read to their class, since it teaches the student how to read comprehension and make a good decisions. Then with an agreement that literature and poetry are really related to each other, because Laza 1993 agreed that literature should be utilized by children since it motivates language learning, so pupils find it enjoyable and it is included in many curricula. So in the poems that can lead the students and children to the meaning of the poems, to let them read and understand it as well, because a useful content source for foreign language courses, literature offers engaging lessons for teaching language. This is especially true when it comes to the idea of possibilities and choice in an individual's life, and it is a poem that alludes to a profound idea surrounding the decision we make on a daily basis. So the greatest literary form allows Robert Frost to express a meaningful message in a stunning poem to the reader as students or kids. Similar to this, the poet first sees one part as being superior, but after traveling a short distance, he realizes both are identical and yet expression a desire to pursue the first ones. So it can make that it's agree that this kind of literature that related to poem can make the student being more positive in learning and reading reading poetry. So last but not least, there are also many Robert Frost poems that teachers should consider bring it up to the class as developing a good literature. Thank you so much for your listening. So here our reference that we have researched on our position paper.